Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and sadly, there are no party poppers today. I'm recapping Game 3 of the ALDS. Astros lose to the Athletics 9-7. We got out hit 11-10. And before I go any further, if you watch this game, don't panic. This was not a terrible game for the Astros, outside of managing, which, let me rephrase this, there were two bad managerial moves, but I'll get to all of that in a second. Starting with the starting pitching, Jose Urquidy was very mixed. He gave up 4 bad pitches in his 4 1/3 innings. Unfortunately, all 4 of those were hit out of the yard. 4 home runs. They were all solo, so that's a positive. Final stat line was 4 1/3, 4 runs, 4 home runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. He was bad. But I just like Jose Urquidy, and I feel bad saying he was bad. This was not one of his better games, but again, it wasn't terrible because we were still kind of in it at that point. Blake Taylor came in. He had some trouble. He loaded the bases but got out of it. And then we made our first mistake of the day, which was we brought in Josh James. Now, first off, why? Why is Josh James, A, on the playoff roster, and B, why now? Why not in Game 1 when we had a massive lead? Why now? Why now are you bringing him in? And he got out of it. It wasn't a good first inning, but in his first inning of work, he at least got out of it cleanly with no runs. And then, for a reason I cannot understand, we put him back out there for a second inning. He looked shaky in the first inning of work. He's been terrible this whole season. A +7 ERA. And you put him back out there. I don't know his ERA plus numbers because I really don't want to know. It's probably like 50 or lower. It's not good. And we put him back out there for a second inning of work. Dusty Baker. Yesterday, I was getting ready, and I don't know why I didn't. I think it just slipped my mind. I was getting ready to say, hey, you know what? I criticized him a lot during the regular season. Dusty Baker's been fantastic this postseason. I have not had a complaint for his postseason managerial duties this season. For the first 4 games, I had no qualms with it. I was like, man, he wasn't good during the regular season, but dang, is he being a good postseason manager? I stopped myself there. He's been really good this postseason. And then today happened, and he made that move that was mind-numbing to put him back out there. Base hit. Red flag. Pull him. No. Another base hit. Big red flags. Flashing red lights everywhere. You need to pull him. And he just gets left in and then gives up a tying home run that makes it 7-7. And at that point you pull him. And it's like, man, I was getting ready to praise you for your manager, or for managing this postseason. And just, a back-breaking, game-tying home run to make it 7-7. And then he brought in Brooks Raley. And Brooks Raley got out of his inning fine. No runs given up. Which, if you're keeping track, now, if you would have just put Brooks Raley in to start the inning, we're still up by 3. So then, Brooks Raley came out for a second inning, and he gave up 2 runs in that inning. But, if you dial it on back here, and you say, in this mystical world that I've dreamt up, now, instead of being up 2, the A's are still down 1. Which, after Raley was done, Scrub pitched really well. He got out of his inning fine. Oh, by the way, Raley's stat line, I want to say this, was 2 innings, 1 hit, 2 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. A lot of 2s in his stat line. And then Scrub came in the 9th, and he looked fine. He looked pretty good, actually. 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, no walks. Scrub was really good tonight. And it's just, why didn't we put Scrub in instead of James? Why didn't we try to see if Blake Taylor could settle in? I would have been fine with that. Even with how shaky Blake Taylor was, I would have rather had him go for another inning because at least he's been really good this season. And why didn't we put him Scrub in the second inning for James? This was a very this was not a good day managerial wise for Dusty Baker. For the offense, we scored 7 runs. We didn't do bad offensively. 7 runs. The first run came on an Altuve home run that tied the game at 1. I said as a joke going into the game, I was like, not on here or anything, but I was like, man, Correa hit 2 home runs in game 1. Springer had 2 yesterday. Today Altuve is going to hit 2. And then he hit 1. And for a second, I was like, man, I am a fortune teller when it comes to baseball. That did not happen, and I was not a fortune teller. Also in the first, Correa had a fielder's choice for an RBI. And then in the 5th, we scored 5 runs. Started with a Diaz 2-run home run. Then Brantley had an RBI single. Bregman had an RBI double. And that RBI double for Bregman would have, if Altuve hadn't been thrown out, could have made it a 1-run game at the end, which would have made it a lot more attainable than the 2 runs. Anyway, it didn't end up actually mattering. And then to finish off the 5-run inning, Tucker had an RBI single. And I want to say this because I know we lost, and I know it sucks, and I know a lot of people were dreading this, and I was too. I'm happy that it came here because there are positives. I swear there are positives in this. Our offense is still clicking. We've scored 10, 5, 7. So our offense is still rolling. The offense was not the problem. And the majority of this year, the problem is that we have had an offense that will not start. And we have been rolling in this series. So that's a positive. The next one, this is only game 3. When you win the first 2 games of any playoff series, you are given so much flexibility, especially in like the ALDS. Like after yesterday, all we had to do is go 1-2. If we go 1-2, we win the series. It's over. On to the ALCS. So this is not terrible. We had to get a playoff loss somewhere. Like we had to get it out of our system. So I'm fine doing it here in game 3, where we still have plenty of flexibility. We still have 2 more games. That's fine. Another massive positive. Credit to him for this game. Liam Hendricks. I keep wanting to call him Jimmy, obviously. Liam Hendricks did very well. I give him a lot of credit. This is a fantastic outing by him. 3 scoreless innings in relief to get a save. That was fantastic for Hendricks. But he will not be available, theoretically, for Game 4. Like, I would be flabbergasted tomorrow if we saw Liam Hendricks even for an out. Like, 3 innings today. I think he threw upwards of 39 pitches, 30 or 40, somewhere around in there. So theoretically, we won't have to face probably the best pitcher and the best closer in baseball, not pitcher, for the rest of the series. Theoretically, maybe if we went to a game 5, but I'm thinking we can hopefully wrap it up tomorrow. So while there is a lot to say wrong, I think Dusty Baker did a bad job managing this game, and the pitching staff was pretty poor. It's not the end of the world, just because it was game 3 in a series we were up 2-0 in, and we decimated their best pitcher on that staff in Liam Hendricks, and he will not be available theoretically for tomorrow. So again, we lost. There are a lot of positives to take away from this. Specifically, Altuve hit a home run, and he is seemingly starting to get rolling. So again, maybe I'm a piss. Maybe I'm an optimist, but there's a lot of good things from this game. We have not announced our starter for tomorrow in either of the A's. I'm guessing. I have no guess, actually. I was going to say I have no idea. I don't know, maybe a Christian Javier. Did he pitch in relief in game 1? Let me look at my notes really quickly. He did pitch in relief in game 1, but that was only an inning, so maybe Christian Javier? Maybe? Let me think. Because theoretically, we're probably not going to use Greinke because he might have an ailment on his elbow. Probably. I should not have put this in here, but here we are. Probably Christian Javier if I had to take a blind shot in the dark. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this game. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Stros.